Starting recording. That thing is on. All right. So, what do you want to go by? I don't know. I don't want to just say your name. You know, you could say take the stage on that one. Yeah. What do you want to go by? I mean, because for you, okay. So Jack. All right. So Jack, you got some questions for me, right? I guess, right?
I do. Yeah, so I've been like watching your videos for a few years now. Yeah, you really interest me. No one that I know talks about or is interested in any of the stuff that you talk about in your videos, and mainly the breatharian thing really interests me. Um, so I guess the main question, I guess, is like, how do you like keep on body mass? How do you have sustained energy without consuming like any food?
I mean, it's not that the body isn't like exchanging with food or what you call consuming with food, like or consuming the food. It's like it's just changing the frequency of the food, just a different density of food. It's a gradual transition. I would say just enjoy the process, man, from gradually going from vegan to raw to more particular raw and then more liquid, like more almost like baby food type, soups and things like that. And then you just gradually, your organs just start to like gradually go back to where their natural alignment. So then everything kind of just it shows itself. Everything expresses itself. At that point, it's not anything like you don't have to try. At this point, I don't have to try to not eat. It's not eating at this point. It's really just eating a different sort of like eating from a different place. Like the body's always feeding and always feeding from all the levels or all the dimensions of vibration, I guess you want to say. So it's kind of just like being aware and being present enough to see where this energy is, because there's never any lack. Like if you just go into like every moment in life knowing that there's no lack and that everything is balancing out, the yin and the yang is balancing out, there's never any moment of lack. It's all just a perception. It's just lack of perspective. So it's the more that you do that, then you kind of just shift. Like, okay, the body is feeding off energy. Where's the energy? The energy is here. It's never lack. So, it's in the air. It's in the music. It's in the sun. It's in, all the four elements for sure. It's just different densities of vibration or different densities of light, however you want to look at it. But you got your air, air, fire, water, and earth, man. And there are different ways of getting the vibration from them and bouncing that off the tissue in the body. So that's really what it is. It's pushing on the tissue of the body and reminding you of the void. Because the void is really the presence. That's really the inhabitant of the body. You know what I mean? So the more that you have separation between the void and the body, like it's pretty much the distance between a full breath. If you can't fully expand your lungs, that's pretty much like your distance between you and you in a sense. So that void, that nothing, like the more that you're empty, the closer you are to that nothing. So that nothing, because that's the true presence. So whenever that's like the true alignment, getting back to that realization of not needing and just being the observer of the elements and just watching the process, pretty much just observing, just knowing that everything is you. So everything just reminds you of you. Like you it's not that you eat food and it gives you any energy. It's always an exchange. Like inhale, exhale, like it's the giveth and the taketh of things. Like it's all just reminding you of you. It's pushing on your tissue. It pushes on your tissue, whatever it is, music, sunlight. It pushes on your tissue, it radiates. That's what radiation is, bounce vibration. Pushes on your tissue, the tissue pushes back. And in that process, you realize the nothing. You realize the sound, like it's just that reference point, of silence and sound. When you push off the tissue and then it pushes back, in that whole process, you realize like if you're more so like if the breath or if the tissue is like a swinging door, you're pretty much just observing that. And the body is pretty much like that pendulum, like of that pushing of the tissue. And as if you're unconscious, then your pushing is like this, and you're just constantly going back and forth and yo-yoing, and then you just get more gentle in the way you push on your tissue. Like eating carcass and stuff like that, that's like, you're pushing on the tissue in such an acidic way, it's so corrosive that in order to balance that pendulum out, you're going to have to counter that like so much in your expression, in your daily expression, what you have to take from the world to have that experience. So as you do more gentle pushing of the tissue like that, it's like the less you do, the less you undo, the less you have to clean up. So the more you do, the more you have to clean up. So it's more about the push, the proper push on the tissue that realigns you, whether it's music, whether it's somebody saying something truthful, whether it's an organic vegetable or fruit or whatever, herb. All those things are forms of vibration that push on your tissue, and then the tissue pushes back, and anything that's lodged in the tissue is released in that process. So you take a herb in, or you take music in, or whatever, and that pushes on the tissue, and the tissue pushes back. That vibration happens, and that's releasing all of basically what isn't you. So then you get reminded of what is you. So once you get that reset, then you can kind of go from there. But you never really know, like you kind of never really know what empty and full is if you don't know, like, if you have no point of reference, in a sense, like if you don't know what the nothing is.
See, like
still...
I have fasted before for 2 days straight, no food, no water. I felt a little lightheaded, but I got through it. So I know what it feels like. My family, like, they're very judgmental and skeptical of the whole breatharian thing. So like, they would never let me do that. So I'd have to like live somewhere not with them. You know what I mean? It makes it a problem because they're big meat eaters. And I went vegan for a year and a half, and just like, I don't know, they would just harass me. It was just like so much judgment, and like, I've gone back to eating meat, and I don't like it, but like it's just part of my family, and I don't want to be like an outsider. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no,
that's
I
where
know,
I'm at.
I know. I get it, man. I mean, that's pretty much like you giving up ground in within yourself, and like pretty much barricading yourself within yourself. Like all right, I know, you know what I mean? Like you're pretty much like saying, all right, I'll give up that rest of my energy and stuff and just stay here and protect from this point, instead of fully expressing yourself and being like unedited and fully doing what you're supposed to do, and then knowing that everything's going to balance out. So like if anybody's truly there for you, they'll be there, and if anybody isn't there for you, then they was never there. So that's like that's always get exposed in that process. That's the whole pushing process too, kind of inside out.
I guess, yeah, I guess I just gotta pick new people to hang out with, because like my friends would
What
think
about outside?
what that.
You just gotta breathe more. Isn't
Yeah.
that, yeah? Just breathe more. Just breathe more, and then you'll meet different people. Everything will change if you change your breathing pattern, and everything changes from that. The more frequently you breathe, changes the frequency of breathing. You change pattern, you change people, and then you just have a different state of attraction. You just, because it's all mirrors, so you have to be at a different state of you to see anything else. You have to change. You have to change the frequency. You have to change the arrangement, man. The ingredients that you got right now are still the same ingredients as anybody. It's going to be them same four elements. Air, fire, water, earth, and to which degree you arrange them is really up to you. So it's alchemy. It's not breatharianism in a sense. It's all you feeding off the energy that's already there, in a sense. Like it's cosmic energy that's already there. It's already in transition. Nothing is solid. Everything's in transition. So it's like you pretty much synchronize with an energy, and then you go on. You're just a synchronicity. You synchronize. So you change in breathing patterns, then you synchronize with that state of energy as an awareness. And then you change breathing patterns, and you get a different state. You get different reality, different frequency, and so you get different people. Different. That just comes with the cycle. Whatever your cycle is, your patterns and your daily cycle, that'll all change. Like if you eat different foods, you're gonna show up at different stores. You're gonna work out differently. You're gonna end up at the gym at different times because your energy is gonna be different. So your whole pattern will be different, and then you won't even see people that are on a certain energy level. Not that you won't see them, but they might as well be in another universe, like because your presence is in a whole nother frequency. So it's not good or bad. It is what it is, huh?
I was about to say, I do feel a little sluggish. Like now when I'm eating meat, like when I wake up in the morning, like I don't even want to get out of bed. You know what I mean? Like I just want to like roll back over.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's extremely dense, and it's just extremely dense. I don't even want to like say it's good or bad, karmically or anything like that. I just want to look at it like from a dense, clean up perspective. Like it's extremely dense, you know what I mean? And what it requires outside of you to bring it to your plate is a lot of dense movement, a lot of yin and yang, just to get it to your plate. But like if you're doing something more subtle, like breathing in your room consciously, that change. I mean, if you supplement that every day, breathing in your room for an hour or two every day for a year, your diet will change whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? It's really just like how much do you hold yourself back, really?
I mean, like, how do you live your life like socially, like living the lifestyle you do? Like, I'm sure like you're one of very few. Like when you're around friends, how does that work? Like, you know what I mean? Do they all understand your lifestyle?
Well, like the closer you get to the reflection, like the closer you get to you, the reflections are all closer.
Okay.
So it's like people that are more in understanding of you, like as far as the people that's closer to you. But you got to really practice. It's not about knowing what you know. It's about doing it. So it's the daily practice that'll create a pattern, which is basically like your vehicle, your cycle or whatever that brings you to a different state, different frequency. So the people around you will all observe that and they either get with it or get lost, man. It's not, you know what I mean? You can't even, you got to be strong. You have to be strong. There's nothing else you can do in a sense, you know, you just have to be strong because
Mm.
it's nothing else you can do because you
Mm.
just, yeah, nothing else you can really do. People, yeah, people want to, they're gonna do what they want to do.
I'm
So
sure that was very sure
it's,
judgment.
I just feel like you would take it, you just enjoy your solitude when you get it, and then when people are around there of a different frequency, more like yourself, because your mirror changes, your perspective of your mirror changes, so you see value in different ways, different people, different things. So you see abundance in different ways. So it doesn't have to be a lot of people, a lot of things, or a lot. You know what I mean? Like it could be less people and have the same feeling of abundance. It's just like the right people. You know what I mean? Like it really is just about the correct thing because you could do a billion of the wrong things. You know what I mean? Just because you did a bunch of things doesn't validate the things. So it's really the correct thing. You know, I think the correct people, and that just comes with being the correct you, and then you can see from where from a clear place, a clear
Mm.
place. You know, what I mean? That's it. You know, it's not at this point. You just got to create a pattern, create a different pattern, and then you'll get out of that reality and into a different one or whatever. And it, it's kind of like the world kind of waiting on you really in a lot of ways when you don't, when you hold it up, when you hold yourself up like that, like there's no way you can help them. Like no one can like put the food in your mouth, so no one can go out, and change your life, go inside your body and change your life like the way you want to change. So it's the same thing for them. You got to just be the best pattern so that they can just observe that and witness it, man. It's nothing like observing it. There's no reset or natural reset button like observing or really being exposed, having your cells exposed to like certain presence, whether it's a person or like an ancient thing, an ancient place or tree or something, like the presence in that, it brings a different reset. So it's just, you got to really let the light in. It's just more breathing. So then your presence you have a different presence, different perspective.
Gotcha. All right, that's very helpful. I appreciate that. Um,
Uh,
and as far as the I know that you mentioned talk about diatomaceous earth. Is that worth getting? You think, or
Yeah, definitely if you eat meat. I think you should definitely get it and don't use it. Don't overdo it. I would never use it for more than 2 weeks. I would just add it to whatever you crave or whatever your like weakness is. Any comfort food that you have, add the diatomaceous earth into that. The densest food that you eat, put the diatomaceous earth in that because the food degrade diatomaceous earth is going to shred all the worms. So when they come to, they're going to get baited by the what they really want. The parasites are making you want what you think you want, internally and externally. The people around you and the parasites in you make you think that you want these things. So the diatomaceous, if you eat the food with the diatomaceous earth in it, it'll draw them out, and then you'll kill a lot more instantly because
plus?
they know, yeah, they know what they're doing. They're ancient. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing. They know when something. They know when you eat a salad as opposed to eating a steak. They know when they're like, oh, the blood is out. They know the difference, man. It's just like a dog. So, you know what I mean? If you eat if you try to eat like a herb or a bitter like yellow dock, like smelling it, the parasite will smell it with your body. It's like hooked into your senses, you know what I'm saying? So it's hooked into the body. It's a parallel sight looking through you. So like it's smelling it's feeling all them senses too. So it's like using the will that it has, the energy that it's consuming as, momentum to try to push you away from the things that it desires to expand its presence, expand its presence in the body so it can have more energy, take more energy, expand more.
So you wouldn't suggest taking it like on an empty stomach, like with a fast. You would suggest taking it with the craving foods?
Huh?
I said you wouldn't suggest taking it like just by itself. You're saying take it with the foods that I crave.
Yeah, I would definitely say the gradual process into fasting. I mean, you can, if your body is telling you to fast and it's easy to just fast and stay on liquids, then I think you should follow that and get behind that momentum. But you shouldn't tell your body to fast, really. You know what I mean? You should just gradually change your portion sizes and the ingredients of the foods that you're eating. Change those two things and the time of day that you eat. Don't eat too early or too late, and those will be the main things that'll change your metabolism and your perspective in life in general. And where you eat and how fast you eat, and that's all greater details. Chewing the food completely to a liquid and all that type of stuff. That's all, doing things more holistically, just being more aware, more conscious of what you're doing.
Gotcha. And then something I noticed recently is like out of nowhere, just people just been making assumptions about me. I don't know, like what does that say about me? Do you have any advice on that?
Where do you feel it in your body when you're triggered?
Like my dad will make like assumptions, like I'll share ideas with him, like kind of similar to what you've been talking about the past 20 minutes, like, and he just kind of like makes assumptions, like oh, like that stuff's not important at all, like you know, I don't know, he just kind of like just judges like the ideas I share.
So how does it make you feel? Where do you feel it
Uh,
where do you feel it in your body when you feel that feeling? Or when you go through that?
where do I feel it?
That's what I'm saying. See, you gotta have presence to see the feeling. You know what I mean? Like you got it's like total inhabitation of the body. You want to be totally present in the body to where you be like, where this is a obstruction emotionally in my body. Where do I feel it? It's physical and metaphysical. So, you got to look at it like where are you feeling it? Are you feeling it in your gut? Does it give you butterflies when these things are told to you? Like where is it fear? Is it just what do you feel? Is it in your heart? Is it like passionate? Is it anger? Like where do you feel it? You gotta see, yeah, like where's the energy at? Like that's what I'm saying. The energy is always there, man. There's never no lack. All the elements are always in the room, and the whole universe is in the room. So the small is the large, and the large is the small. So like it's all there, man. It's never any lack. The elements are either inside you in the room or outside you, but they're in both. It's just the arrangement. So you know what I mean. It's just all about how you arrange it. How you view it is how you arrange it in a sense.
Okay.
Because you got to see it. Because you got to see it inside your head first to begin arranging it. So it's how you view it anyway. And visual images or imagery is that right brain. But you can't even tap into that imagery, man, if you not breathing deeply, man. You got to breathe at a certain state to think more visual instead of in language. Because language is the training. That's the parasites use that because you can just run that on repeat. You say something negative, you get a negative thought. Somebody repeats something, and because everything is you. You can't look at anything like it's abrasive to you or against you. So everything is you. So it's you telling you, or you're always talking to and for yourself. Everybody you talk to is you. So you can't take it. You can't take anything negatively. You got to find a way to see the fact that this statement that's being said is the truth. Every statement that's ever said is the truth, but how can I look at it to see the truth in it? You know what I mean? It's like looking at everything in a double entendre in a sense. Like if you were to say like I have nothing, you could say I have nothing and nothing is eternity. So you have nothing, or you have nothing. Like, so that's the paradox. You know what I mean? So whenever people speak and say things to you, you should never get emotional. You just have to find the way to look at what they're saying. It's life is how you take it. You know what I mean? And death is what you make it. So, yeah.
All right, that's helpful. Um, and then you mentioned deep breathing, but in terms of like meditation techniques, I took up meditation a couple of years ago. I kind of just like I sit there. Sometimes I visualize like a light going through my pineal gland, or just like a light going from the base of my spine through the top of my head, just all the way to the sky. So do you have any like specific techniques you do when you meditate?
I got some videos that I don't know if you've already seen, man. Because it ultimately is going to come down to the breath, and then I slow the breath into the point where the visuals are so intense to where it all melts into one. You know what I mean? It's not any separation. It's all the breath control. The more that you slow the breathing down, the more that you can the more silent it becomes in the body, and then the more you can hear. And hearing is the same as seeing because light is vibration. So like it's funny, man. Like it really is just like slowing the breathing down and getting the parasympathetic nervous system. And the only way to stay in that consistently, or to come in and out of that smoothly, is to keep the lungs uninhibited in their expansion. The lungs have to constantly expand all day, and then you got to fully exhale. Everything's going to come down to the breath. So meditation, you can focus on energy centers, but spirit itself is energy, is the breath. So they can't be separated. So it's all going to be you breathing, then focusing, then locking the breath in the body, and then from there you see the pressures in the body. Once you lock the breath in the body, you fully inhale from the diaphragm. You got to fully exhale to inhale. You have to fully evacuate. Then you can inhale, and then you fully expand that diaphragm, and then you feel the pressure. Like you can squeeze a little bit from the base of your spine, and then the roof of your mouth, push your tongue into it, and then you can feel that pressure in your head to the base of your spine, to your fingers and toes, everything. Just change the pressure of the blood, everything. Squeeze a little bit, not too much, just a nice squeeze on the inhale to lock the breath in the bottom of the lungs. So then that whole process, you're just metabolizing, you're squeezing the breath to the bottom of the lungs where all the blood is. So then you're metabolizing the air better, and you're forcing the air into the lungs at a greater rate. So then the circulation is just better. That's why people get hyperbaric chambers to heal and stuff like that, just to have more air in their blood. And people blood doping and stuff like that. That a lot, just more air. You can do that just by breathing differently. So any superiority is pretty much, or any breath work or spirituality in general is breath work. It's always going to come down to the breath, like full expansion, like full expansion of breath allows full expansion of consciousness, like in a moment. And it's all it is. The only thing that matters is the now, and that's and just staying in that. You gotta, the more that you breathe, the more you realize when you're not breathing, and then you realize that the breath is what keeps you in the now. And then you submit to it because it is you. The breath is you trying to fight its way through the body, through the parasites, just trying to, like, it is that spirit trying to come through, like, take its body back. So then you like submit to it because it's like you realize, like, oh, this is my will anyway. I'm fighting this idea of myself, which is the parasite that I tricked, myself into, and I was, and then I became separate and fragmented like this, and now I feel like my family isn't me, and these people aren't me, and but everything is you. It's all extensions of you. So it's all voices inside and outside your head. So you just have to have no judgment, and it's easier to have no judgment when you don't eat heavy foods that create all that mess. You got to think about, like, if you have to kill something, you gotta kill an animal. You have to raise the food, kill the plants to feed the animal, then kill the animal, then deliver the animal to whoever is the consumer of it. So that whole distribution process, like that's a lot of doing and undoing, the cleaning up that has to be done in the world. Like that's just a lot of mess. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. You know, and then just so it's just less doing. And so the less mess you create, the less mess that you have to do. Then you could just then you do the true movements. Like so then you're like, say like there's a middle you, and you're out here like yin and yang on the outside of it, and then you gradually get to a point where you align with the center, and then it's infinity. So then there's no rush. You know what I'm saying? Then you don't have then you kind of just enjoy observation of the yin and the yang, and I just that's really about it, man. It's all about perspective, because all that other stuff, if you have to cook food and it takes all this amount of time, and then you got to clean the dishes, that's all your cleanup. That's so much doing to undo, and then you have to do workout to burn off the calories, and instead of just expressing what's on your mind right now and the problems right now, and then you just don't even have to eat, and then you can like address the next thing, and then you don't have to eat because then you don't have that mental and emotional baggage, and then your body will tell you like, all right, this is exactly how much I need, because then you can trust yourself at that point, and then then you fill your cup just enough, and then you can keep sharing everything else that comes, and then life just keeps sharing with you more, and then you just make sure your cup is filled, and then you're like that's it. You know what I mean? You don't even want to. All the profit or whatever is for everybody else. Everything else is just to keep the cup full.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's very helpful.
Because everybody else.
What's that?
Because everybody else is you.
Yeah. No, I had like I don't know, call it like a Kundalini awakening like a couple of years ago, and I had the realization like that we're all one. Like that hit me pretty hard, and yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I definitely have felt that within me like a year ago, and like, I've kind of like gotten away from like wanting to be spiritual just because I don't know, just I felt like an outsider, but now like I see the importance in it, and like there's no other path really.
And nobody will respect it till you do. Until you accept you, then nobody can accept you. Like you have to teach them how to do it. So you gotta. I mean, you have to set the pattern.
Yeah. And then the very last question I wrote down was in terms of like exercise, like do you do anything like specific, or you just kind of do what you feel called to do, or like, do you know what I mean?
Sex.
Like syntax?
Sex. Sex.
Oh,
Sex. Sex.
nice.
Yeah. No, mainly. At this point, I mean, I've developed my body, so that's what it was all for anyway. For attraction. It was for attraction. I developed my body from a whole 29 years till my brain fully developed. Almost, I'm not 29 now, 28 now, but my body, your brain don't finish developing until 29. Your prefrontal lobe stops at 29. That's when it's supposed to be fully developed. So you fully develop, fully mature in all areas of the body, and then you just maintain it because it's perfect. So as long as I keep it perfect, then I only see perfect reflections, and then I don't have any excess. I don't have anything that I have to burn off or compensate for, because you're just working out to induce a fever to burn off what you shouldn't have ate anyway. So since I'm not eating what I shouldn't have ate, then I just play. And for an adult, that's sex.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Or just, other than that, sometimes I play basketball, you know what I mean? Whatever the energy in the day is. Let me give you, I'll be honest with you too. It's not just like sex, but whatever the energy in the day is too, you know what I mean? Because it's still like, I enjoy cleaning sometimes, depending on the energy of the day. I just use whatever energy is at hand, you know what I mean? And that itself is usually a workout every day.
So you really like your body. You don't really make plans. You just kind of like feel it and then just let it ride.
Yeah, you gotta have trust in it. You gotta but the only way you can trust it is if you clean it. Once it's clean, like you can't really trust like a car that you haven't been taking care of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like once you get the car totally all the way up to par, and you're like, all right, I trust this on like this long road or whatever. Like it's the same thing with the body. Like you can't trust it if it's not up to par. It's impossible. So then you just have doubt, and then doubt just breeds all the realities that you don't want to live.
And just wondering, do you smoke weed, or is that something you let go of too?
Vaporize. I'd rather not do anything but vaporize.
Vaporize. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, because the combustion is just too carcinogenic. I mean, eventually nothing. You know what I mean? But it's the process. I'm gonna enjoy A to Z. Like
Yeah.
I'm not eating food, so I'm gonna vaporize some. Yeah, I'm gonna vaporize.
In terms of like transitioning with like the drinking the liquids, I have like a bullet to like make smoothies out of. Like, what kind of foods would you suggest making smoothies with? 'Cause I know I watched a video about like the alkaline foods, like Dr. Sebi, like, what foods aren't meant to be eaten and stuff like that.
Uh,
What foods do you suggest?
as far as like for me at this point to not to just stay on liquids, or for someone, what are you trying to do? What's the goal?
I mean,
Breath,
juice.
breath.
I'm trying to get rid of the food I'm eating now. Like, I want to be a raw vegan, but like you said, like, I know the change got to come from me, but I just feel like the situation I'm in, raw vegan is impossible when I go out to dinner with my family for special events. But I'm just trying to reduce.
If you breathe more and you take the herbs, then your body would never go through like any flux where you would lose any weight or anything like that. The more you breathe, the more that you gradually and gracefully transition from different stages of veganism. The more you breathe, you'll gradually and gracefully transition as if you breathe more and more throughout it. You'll never ever hit a point when you are just ugly detox mode if you're breathing throughout it, because it's impossible to not be vibrant if you're breathing. So if you breathe, you take the herbs, you're gonna not want to eat much in general. You're gonna want to feed off of different energies that are available to you, readily available to you, because they are always available to you. But you rather do things more gracefully. So it's like I could eat this apple, or I could feed off another food, in a sense of like I could go evolve. If I go solve a problem within myself, then I can solve a problem externally, then I can evolve, and then I will need less. So if I need less, then I have more in general. So it's just about realizing how little you need, and then your cup, just shrinking the cup. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then because I'm telling you, once you fully mature the body and you get the parasites out of it, then you'll never, and you're breathing. Because people go vegan and they got parasites from eating meat, so of course they're just gonna start eating their blood and intestinal wall and organs and brain and all that and lungs. So that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna look malnourished because you're jumping off of something. They stopped eating what you were feeding them, so they're just jumping on your body now.
Yeah, because I do see the videos of the vegans like their ex-vegan stories where they go back to eating meat. So I guess, is that why? Maybe, I guess. Oh, you froze. You still there? Yo.